Did you know that if you combine the lights of every major city on Earth, there is still one place so blindingly bright that astronauts can see it clearly from space with the naked eye? That's the Las Vegas Strip in Nevada. But don't let the neon glow fool you. Beyond the glitz of the entertainment capital of the world lies a land of breathtaking secrets. Nevada isn't just where people go to try their luck. It's a state of extremes that shaped America, where the harshest desert meets the pinnacle of luxury. Are you ready to uncover what even the locals might not know about this strange and beautiful land? Let's dive in. One of the most beautiful freshwater lakes in the world was born from the combination of colossal geological forces. Its formation story began about 2 to 3.7 million years ago, when powerful tectonic activities created massive faults in the Earth's crust. The uplifting blocks of land formed the Carson Range to the east and the Sierra Nevada to the west, while the block that dropped down in the middle created the basin for Lake Tahoe. This process, known as block faulting, created a huge depression which was later filled by rainwater, snowmelt, and streams from the surrounding mountains, forming the ancient Lake Tahoe. Alongside the faulting, volcanoes also played a crucial role when lava flows from the now extinct Mount Pluto poured out, forming a natural dam to the north that helped trap the water. During the ice ages, gigantic glaciers scoured and deepened the basin, creating the sharp, rugged topography with prominent peaks and characteristic U-shaped valleys. Today, the Lake Tahoe Basin remains a geologically active area with many faults, and scientists have recorded major earthquakes as well as underwater landslides that generated tsunamis in the past. Currently, with a depth of over 500 meters, Lake Tahoe is not only one of the deepest lakes, but also the second largest freshwater lake in North America, a living testament to nature's relentless shaping power. Now, before we move on to the next destination, here's a fun question for you. What is Nevada best known for? Comment your answer below. Located in southeastern Nevada, just about an hour's drive from Las Vegas, Valley of Fire State Park is a brilliant red jewel in the heart of the Mojave Desert and the very first state park of Nevada. Its breathtaking beauty is the result of a geological journey that spans an incredible 150 million years. The story began during the Jurassic period, when this area was a vast desert with enormous shifting sand dunes. Over time, pressure and minerals compacted these dunes, forming the hard, resilient Aztec sandstone that now glows with vibrant colors. It was the oxidation of iron within the rock that created the distinctive red, orange, pink, and white hues of the cliffs. Later, powerful tectonic forces uplifted and faulted this massive sandstone block. In particular, the Muddy Mountain Thrust Fault, part of the severe orogenic belt, pushed ancient limestone slabs from the west up and over the younger sandstone below. This hard limestone layer then acted as a protective shield, guarding the underlying sandstone from erosion for millions of years. Nowadays, the ancient petroglyphs carved by the Pueblo people on the cliffs stand as evidence of human presence here from 300 BC to 1150 AD. And the name Valley of Fire originates from the way the red sandstone cliffs seem to burst into flames under the setting sun. The world is full of amazing places waiting to be discovered. Subscribe and let's explore them together. Local Native American tribes once believed that the mountain was the home of powerful spirits who controlled the rains and snows. Mount Charleston, the highest peak in the Spring Mountains, holds a geological story that spans hundreds of millions of years. Mount Charleston rises like a cool green oasis in the middle of the arid Mojave Desert. The formation story of this highest peak in the Spring Mountains is a geological tale spanning hundreds of millions of years. The story began during the Paleozoic era, when the entire region today lay submerged beneath a vast ancient ocean. Over millions of years, countless marine creatures such as corals, sponges, and crinoids thrived, and their calcium-rich skeletons accumulated thickly on the ocean floor. This sediment layer gradually compacted and hardened, forming massive limestone and dolomite rocks. Later, the immense power of tectonic plates lifted this entire rock mass above sea level. This uplifting process, combined with faulting activities, created the Spring Mountains Range, with Charleston Peak rising nearly 12,000 feet high. Over millions of years, erosional forces from wind and water sculpted the landscape, carving the steep cliffs and deep valleys we admire today. If you enjoyed this journey, you can support the channel with a small coffee yours. Your support helps me keep creating more travel videos like this. Thank you so much. Amidst the scorching heat and arid dryness that seems devoid of life, Death Valley conceals a geological history full of surprises and paradoxes. Its journey began millions of years ago, when this area was once a vast and fertile lake. Later, powerful tectonic activities stretched and sank this land, creating a massive basin surrounded by towering mountain ranges. It was the rain-shadow effect from these mountains that blocked moisture from the Pacific Ocean, making the region increasingly arid. As the climate grew drier, the ancient lake began to evaporate, leaving behind thick layers of salt and minerals. Over thousands of years, wind and water continued to erode the landscape, carving deep canyons, sharp cliffs, and expansive white salt flats. The extreme heat and dryness have turned this place into a natural laboratory for studying how life adapts. Despite its name, Death Valley, life still thrives here miraculously, from wildflowers blooming after rains to animals that have evolved to endure harsh temperatures. The area also preserves mysterious sliding rocks that move across the dry lake bed, a geological phenomenon that still puzzles scientists to this day. Death Valley is also an important site for researchers studying climate and geology. The transformation of the landscape continues over time, as wind and water keep reshaping the terrain every day. And what's truly remarkable is that, despite appearing desolate and lifeless, this valley harbors a tenacious vitality and a mesmerizing beauty. Few people know that the 7 colorful rock towers in the Nevada desert were originally designed to last only 2 years, yet they have stood firm for nearly a decade and unexpectedly become an artistic icon of this region. That is 7 Magic Mountains, an outdoor art installation by Swiss artist Ugo Rondinone. The work consists of 33 locally quarried limestone boulders stacked into 7 towers ranging from 9 to 10.5 meters tall. Each boulder weighs between 10 and 25 tons and is painted with vibrant fluorescent colors. The artist's concept was to create a contrast between the artificial and the surrounding pristine natural landscape. The location was chosen because it sits right at the boundary between nature and urban life, mountains behind and a busy highway in front. The process of bringing the installation to life took nearly 5 years and was full of challenges. The boulders had to be drilled and fitted with internal steel frames to withstand the desert winds. The work was unveiled in 2016 and quickly captured public attention. Due to the harsh weather, the paint has had to be reapplied twice to maintain its vibrant brightness. The work carries a message about the connection between humanity and nature, between the past and the present. Amidst the arid desert and deep canyons, Hoover Dam stands tall as a symbol of humanity's ambition to conquer nature. Built during the Great Depression, this structure was created to solve the water and power needs of the developing American Southwest. The sturdy basalt cliffs of Black Canyon were chosen as the foundation for this massive concrete dam. To construct it, the fierce Colorado River was diverted through tunnels, blasted through the canyon walls, a bold engineering challenge. Thousands of workers flocked to the site, laboring under harsh conditions and even sacrificing their lives to complete this megastructure. Concrete was poured in massive blocks with an internal cooling pipe system to prevent cracking from heat. Upon completion, the dam created Lake Mead, a gigantic reservoir supplying water to millions of people and farms. Massive turbines inside the dam convert the flowing water into electricity, powering distant cities. The dam also put an end to the cycle of floods that once devastated the lower Colorado River region. This is not just an irrigation project, but a symbol of willpower and cooperation among multiple states. Would you explore the inside of Hoover Dam? comment 1 if yes or 2 if you'd stay outside. Red Rock Canyon, a masterpiece of the Mojave Desert, is the result of a geological journey spanning hundreds of millions of years. Its story began over 500 million years ago, when this area lay deep beneath an ancient ocean. Around 180 million years ago, during the Jurassic period, the sea retreated and the land became arid, transforming into a vast desert with giant sand dunes, some reaching half a mile in height. These dunes, over time, were compacted and cemented by iron oxides, forming the hard, resistant Aztec sandstone with its characteristic cross-bedding patterns that we see today. It is precisely the oxidation of iron minerals within the rock that created the brilliant red and orange hues of the cliffs. About 65 million years ago, powerful tectonic activity gave rise to its most distinctive geological feature, the Keystone Thrust Fault. The compressional force from colliding tectonic plates pushed ancient limestone from the west up and over the younger Jurassic sandstone. This displacement created an impressive geological boundary where gray, old rock lies atop younger red rock. This hard limestone layer later acted as a shield, protecting the underlying sandstone from erosion for millions of years. Over time, erosion by wind and water continued to carve, dissect, and shape the cliffs and canyons, resulting in the spectacular landscape we see today. The massive granite boulders scattered along the shores of Sand Harbor were once molten rock deep underground about 90 million years ago. Sand Harbor, one of the most beautiful beaches on Lake Tahoe, is the result of a geological process spanning millions of years. The formation began when the massive granite boulders, part of the Sierra Nevada batholith, were formed from magma that cooled deep within the earth. Later, tectonic activity created faults that formed the Lake Tahoe Basin about 2 million years ago. When the Ice Age arrived, massive glaciers scoured and transported these granite boulders from the mountains down to their current location. Over thousands of years, lake water and wind eroded the rocks, giving them their characteristic smooth and rounded shapes. The fine golden sand on the beach was created from the decomposition of granite over millions of years. With Lake Tahoe's depth of over 500 meters and its exceptional clarity, the underwater boulders appear vividly like a painting beneath the surface. To experience this surreal landscape before the crowds arrive, local kayakers and paddleboarders often launch into the glassy water right at the first light of dawn. The northern side of the park transforms into a rocky haven for snorkelers exploring underwater crevices. Every July and August, the tranquil atmosphere shifts into a vibrant cultural hub as an open-air amphitheater hosts the famous Lake Tahoe Shakespeare Festival right under the starlight. The phenomenon of sharp sound waves reflecting off sheer stone walls is the exact reason behind the name and creation of Echo Canyon State Park. Over millions of years, natural water flows persistently eroded the porous rock, cutting deep into the earth to carve out a steep canyon. These cliffs possess unique surfaces and angles capable of powerfully bouncing back sound waves to produce distinct echoes. Aside from the natural geological elements, the formation of the area's current landscape was also tied to human survival needs. In the 19th century, the first farmers to settle here recognized the valley's agricultural potential thanks to water from natural springs. However, erratic rainfall and springtime flash floods constantly threatened their crops and livelihoods. Seen from above at night, this is the brightest cluster of light on the planet, and it sits in the middle of the Mojave Desert. For most of its history, this valley held nothing but scrub brush and a few underground springs. Las Vegas started in 1905 as a single railroad stop with one paved street. The real shift came during the Great Depression, when Nevada legalized gambling the same year construction began on the Hoover Dam nearby. Thousands of dam workers needed somewhere to spend a payday, and this town became that place. Most visitors never realize the biggest casinos on the Strip sit just outside the actual city limits of Las Vegas. The resorts here keep tearing themselves down and rebuilding every decade or so. Above the highest floors, private villas let guests pay enormous nightly rates just to be set apart from the crowd below. The culture runs on reproduction at scale. A half-size Eiffel Tower one block, a Venice Canal the next. Casino floors are built without windows or clocks on the walls, a simple trick to make people lose track of time. Behind all that light, an entire residential population lives quietly in the suburbs ringing the valley. When the sun drops, millions of bulbs start lighting up the boulevards at once. People keep arriving from the airport anyway, chasing the same hope that one unpredictable moment could change everything. We gather info from many sources. If something seems off or you've got more to add, drop a comment. Cathedral Gorge State Park was formed by a unique geological process spanning millions of years in Nevada. The entire distinctive landscape here originates from intense volcanic eruptions in the region. Huge amounts of volcanic ash from these eruptions subsequently settled at the bottom of a large prehistoric lake. Over time, these layers of ash, combined with fine sediment, were compressed into a relatively soft and crumbly siltstone. When geological faulting eventually drained the lake, this massive block of siltstone was completely exposed to the elements. At this point, the forces of water and wind began to participate in reshaping the terrain. Heavy rains in the semi-arid climate created flash floods, easily eroding the soft siltstone layers. Rainwater seeped into fractures, gradually wearing away and separating the rock mass into deep gullies. Over thousands of years, this continuous erosion created narrow slot canyons, small caves, and sharp spire-like rock formations. Because the shapes of these spires and surrounding walls closely resemble cathedral architecture, the area was named Cathedral Gorge. This natural process is actually still ongoing, meaning the shapes of the cliffs still change slightly after each heavy rainy season. This natural weathering phenomenon transformed an ancient lake bed into a highly unusual geological labyrinth. The continuous interaction between the old, soft rock terrain and extreme weather elements. The birth of the city of Henderson was tied directly to America's military material shortage during World War II. As the demand for defense metals surged, the government decided to build the world's largest magnesium supply plant in this area. This location was selected for its proximity to the Hoover Dam, which provided abundant power and water, alongside rich mineral resources in neighboring regions. Thousands of workers and their families quickly poured into the area, transforming a desolate desert into a bustling community in a short time. After the war ended, the demand for magnesium plummeted, leading to the plant's closure and the departure of most of the workforce. To save the area from becoming a ghost town, local leaders scrambled to find economic transition solutions. They successfully lobbied the state legislature to purchase the industrial complex to attract private businesses. Moving into the post-war era, the city government began diversifying the economy, shifting focus from heavy industry to green urban development. Master planning for transportation infrastructure and modern residential areas turned the city into a magnet for new residents. This expansion trend helped the city escape the shadow of a pure industrial town to become a major economic hub. That arch has been standing over Virginia Street since 1926, and the slogan it carries, "The biggest little city in the world," was added 3 years later after the city held a contest and paid someone $100 for the idea. The name Reno itself came from a Union general killed in the Civil War, chosen when the Central Pacific Railroad arrived here in 1868, and a new town appeared almost overnight. What the railroad started, the Truckee River made permanent. That river, the only outlet of Lake Tahoe 23 miles to the southwest, still supplies 85% of the drinking water for everyone in Reno and Sparks today. The city sits at around 4,400 feet, backed by the Sierra Nevada, and from above you can see how the whole valley opens up behind the downtown skyline. Nevada legalized gambling in 1931, and for the next 3 decades Reno held the title of gambling capital of the United States, before Las Vegas caught up and passed it. The casinos are still here, still lit up at night, though the economy around them has shifted. Hot air balloons still float over downtown every September for the Great Reno Balloon Race, the same event the city has hosted for decades. The mountains that frame every aerial shot of this city aren't just scenery. They're also the reason Reno exists at all, because everyone heading to California in the 1840s had to stop here and rest before attempting the Sierra crossing. Two miners struck silver here in 1859, on a hillside that had nothing on it but sagebrush and rock. Within a few years, the town spilled down that slope, one main road running through the middle of it, hemmed in on both sides by these same bare desert mountains you can see in every direction from above. From the air, it still looks unfinished, a cluster of rooftops dropped into a fold of the hills with nothing else around for miles. Above the town, on a ridge overlooking the valley, sits the Comstock Cemetery, its iron gate standing open, headstones scattered across the dry grass. Some of those graves go back to the boom years, when this place had more people in it than it does today. Down below, old railroad tracks still cut across the bare mining ground, rail ties stacked off to the side like work that stopped mid-project and was never picked back up. That track once hauled silver ore out of these mountains by the trainload. Now it just sits there, rusting in the open air, exactly where it was left. Samuel Clemens worked as a reporter in this town in the early 1860s, and it was here that he first signed a column as Mark Twain. He left a couple of years later, like most people eventually did, once the silver ran out and there was nothing left to stay for. What didn't leave is what's still standing today. The old buildings, the tracks, the graves up on that ridge facing the valley below. Standing at that cemetery gate with the mountains behind you and the wind moving through the dry grass, it's quiet in a way that feels earned rather than empty. This stretch of Nevada was underwater until about 9,000 years ago, the bottom of an Ice Age lake that left behind one of the flattest surfaces on the continent. For most of the year, that's all this place is: cracked white clay, sagebrush, and silence stretching out toward distant mountains on every side. Then, for 1 week each year, it becomes something else entirely. It started in 1990 with about 80 people who'd been pushed off a beach in San Francisco and needed somewhere remote enough that nobody would stop them from burning a wooden man again. That gathering is Burning Man, and what began as 80 people has grown into a temporary city of around 70,000. The city itself is laid out in a horseshoe, streets curving out from a center point, built from scratch on bare playa that held nothing the week before. From above, it looks almost too organized for something built in a few days, a grid pressed into raw desert with real street names and real neighborhoods. At the center stands the wooden figure the whole event takes its name from, waiting through the week for one night. Nearby, a separate wooden temple goes up too, more intricate, lit from within at twilight, and burned a few days after the man in a much quieter ceremony. By the following week, all of it is gone. The organizers call it leaving no trace, and they mean it literally. Every tent, every structure, swept off the playa until there's no sign anyone was there. What's left is the same flat white desert that's been sitting empty here for 9,000 years, waiting for the next one to begin. This is one of the most famous ghost towns in Nevada. Its history began in the 18th century when Spanish explorers arrived and named this land El Dorado, meaning gold. However, it wasn't until around the late 1850s that prospectors truly discovered large gold deposits. A major turning point came in 1861 when the Tecaticup mine, one of the richest mines in southern Nevada, was established. Enormous profits from gold, silver, copper, and lead mines attracted hundreds of people to the area. The isolation of the canyon region made it a haven for outlaws and Civil War deserters. Disputes over mine ownership and revenge killings occurred frequently, turning the place into one of Nevada's most violent and lawless towns. The name Nelson was later given in memory of Charles Nelson, a mining camp leader who was murdered in 1897. This bustling mining activity continued until it ceased around the 1940s. After the mines closed, the town gradually fell into abandonment and obscurity. The ruins of old structures still stand firm, telling stories of a golden and turbulent era. Traces of the lives that once existed here remain etched on every crumbling stone wall. It was established in 1851 along the California Trail. This stopover was named after a bald eagle that was shot and hung on the post's wall. However, the real change came in 1858 when a man named Abraham Curry and his associates purchased the land. Curry had a special vision. He set aside a 10-acre plot in the center of the town to build the future capital. Remarkably, this vision came true when Carson City was chosen as the capital of the Nevada Territory in 1861. When Nevada became a state 3 years later, the city officially held its position as the capital to this day. The discovery of the Comstock Lode silver mine in 1859 boosted the city's economy and population dramatically. The Virginia and Truckee Railroad was built to connect Carson City with the mines, and a branch of the U.S. Mint was also established here to coin silver. Although many mining towns became ghost towns thanks to its role as the capital, Carson City survived and developed sustainably. In 1969, the city consolidated with Ormsby County and expanded significantly. And today, Carson City remains a living symbol of the vision and foresight of its founders. This is one of the only places in the country where rain never reaches the ocean. Every drop that falls here either evaporates, sinks underground, or ends up in a lake that goes nowhere, which is part of why this stretch of Nevada still feels so empty and untouched. From the desert floor, sagebrush and old fence lines stretch out for miles before the land starts climbing into the Snake Range. At the top of that climb is Wheeler Peak, the second highest point in the state at just over 13,000 feet. Near the tree line up there grow bristlecone pines that are among the oldest living things on Earth, gnarled and twisted by wind that's been hitting them for thousands of years. One of those trees, nicknamed Prometheus, was at least 4,800 years old before it was cut down for research in 1964. Underneath all of this is a cave system that started forming 550 million years ago, back when this part of Nevada was still covered by a shallow sea. Storms roll in fast over the basin, dark clouds dropping rain you can watch, falling in sheets over the valley floor before it ever reaches you. Wildlife moves through all of it quietly. collared lizards sunning on the canyon trails. Lush green fields stretching under the Nevada sun, rows of golden melons amidst the desert. That is the iconic image of Fallon, a miraculous agricultural city. In 1896, Michael Fallon and his wife opened a small post office and store on their family ranch, laying the foundation for the future town. Local residents at the time often called this place Jim's Town, after another trader who also ran a store nearby. Thanks to the canal system diverting water from the Truckee and Carson rivers, tens of thousands of acres of arid land suddenly transformed into green pastures and fertile fields. Fallon was officially incorporated in 1908 and became the county seat of Churchill County. From a lonely stopover, the city rose to become an agricultural hub famous for products like hearts of gold cantaloupes and high-quality alfalfa hay. The skeletal concrete ruins and abandoned train station you see right now belong to Rhyolite, one of the American West's most famous ghost towns. But looking at this desolate wasteland baked by the desert sun, it's hard to imagine that over a century ago, a proud, bustling modern city stood right here. It all began with the discovery of rare gold veins embedded in volcanic rhyolite rock, triggering a frantic gold rush. Almost overnight, permanent brick buildings rose from the dust, an electrical grid and water systems were laid, a railroad network was built, and someone even constructed a house entirely out of thousands of beer bottles. At the heart of this booming economy was the Montgomery Shoshone mine, fueling the town's sudden wealth. However, this prosperity was built on an incredibly unstable foundation. When a nationwide financial panic abruptly cut off investment capital, combined with the rapid depletion of the gold veins, the town was dealt a fatal blow. As mining costs choked out profits, residents vanished practically overnight. Today, these stark structural shells stand exposed to the desert wind, a haunting visual testament to the brutal boom and bust cycle of the wild mining era. From the high-stakes thrill under the neon lights to the unsolved mysteries buried deep in the barren desert, Nevada proves it is a state that is wild, rebellious, and never boring. Whether it's the glitz of Las Vegas or the mystique of Area 51, this land of extremes surely left you captivated. So, what sparks your curiosity the most about Nevada? Let me know in the comments below.